Friends, our Prime Minister Modi had visited Israel for 2 days, and the day after he left Israel, they bombarded Iran under the behest of US. In my previous video on US-Iran, I had ended off on saying, when will US attack Iran or will they not? They did it because they felt that Iran was becoming a threat in West Asia and to Israel, because they were not listening to the IOEA mandate and also were hell-bent on making nuclear warheads. And Khamenei's regime was not towing the US line. So Trump, the world police, went in with USS Gerald Ford and Nimitz and his complete warship to cut off Iran. And in the bargain, they lost 3 soldiers, had downed 3 of their jets, but also killed Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, thus putting an end to a 3-decade-old era, or you can say a 46-year-old era with Khomeini and Khamenei after the Iranian Revolution in 79. So today Iran is at war with US, and they are bombarding their own Muslim countries like Bahrain, Kuwait. The oil refinery in Saudi has been blasted. They have bombed Dubai and Doha, and Dubai, the most important link in air traffic, had been closed for some time, creating chaos in travel routes because the airspace in that area was totally closed, stranding thousands of passengers traveling around the globe. So, what is the aim of Iran, and what is Trump trying to achieve by doing policing of the world? Is he the harbinger of peace? He picks up a president and his wife in the middle of the night, threatens Cuba, Colombia, attacks in Ecuador, says that he is trying to stop the Russian-Ukraine war, also makes claims that he was the harbinger of peace for Op Sindoor also, which we do not agree. In this complete war, they have sunk an Iranian warship off the coast of Sri Lanka, where about 80 odd people have been killed, and that is in international waters, and this is one of the first time that such a thing has happened after World War II. And Trump has also said that he will strike deeper into Iran. So what is the complete analysis of this war, and how long will it carry on? In my thought, this will go on for a little while more. And here I would like to say that US has got it wrong always. Like in Vietnam, Afghanistan, they had to pull out in a very shameful and shoddy manner and could not achieve their aim. And here also, Trump has put his foot in the mouth. So let us watch my video till the end so that I can give you a small little analysis on what would be the outcome of this war. And while you see my video, you can purchase something on our e-commerce site, SONAJURIARTS, where we showcase the art of Bengal, and every purchase of yours will help us motivate these poor artisans and giving them a quality of life, because that will give peace to your mind, because the peace of the world is at present disturbed everywhere. So going on ahead, the regional repercussions of the US and the Israeli strikes on Iran are quite significant, and these joint strikes, Iran launched a series of retaliatory missile and drone strikes across the region, and it fired about 40 ballistic missiles towards Israel, which they were able to repel, though there have been deaths. And then they opted to go after the US military and the Gulf civil target areas and countries like Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, along with Qatar and Jordan, along with Iraq, have been intercepting Iranian missiles. The Oman's port of Tukam was also hit by an Iranian drone on March 1st, making it the 8th Arab country to be hit by Iran. So the Muslim world and the Arab world is also in turmoil and divided over this complete thing, because these countries are supporting US and Iran is not doing the US line. These Iranian strikes have also unleashed significant disruptions. Like I said, the busiest airport in Dubai and Doha were also closed and have been damaged, and there has been a logjam of stranded passengers, which is slowly getting now thinned out because air traffic has started off. Then comes the Strait of Hormuz. At the narrowest point, it is about 21 kilometers, and about 1/5 of the oil trade takes place through this, because if they go down from the South African Cape or the Cape Horn, it is a longer route and the economics change. And with the closing of Strait of Hormuz, the oil prices will shoot up. As it is with the war, the share markets have crashed. The oil prices shoot up and have started touching $100 a barrel. Then, with Iran being the second largest producer of oil, their oil has stopped going to China and to other countries. So here you will have to see there is a little squeeze on China, which we will be discussing later on, because Venezuelan oil, which is the crudest oil, was also going to China, has been stopped after the kidnapping of their president. And with this war and tension, Iranian oil also has stopped going to China. Now, when the Gulf countries have been attacked, they are also weighing their options, and they have condemned the Iranian strikes, and this, the Saudi Arabia has termed it as a blatant Iranian aggression, while the UAE called the site a flagrant violation of national sovereignty. Some may be more willing to openly allow the airspace to be used for US strikes on Iran, because they say that they are not in war with Iran. It is only that they have bases of the US which is being used by the US. Now there is again ambiguity whether using those air bases US is fighting a war with Iran, but that country per se is not at war with Iran. So there is again a dichotomy. And here again Iran had a mistake, in the sense the axis of resistance, and then Iran is basically supporting the Hezbollahs, Hamas, the Houthis, which are all terrorist outfits, and creating problem in various nations like Yemen, Gaza, and Iraq and other places. So the countries around have a point in hand that Iran is creating proxy wars through these terrorist outfits in their nations, and which is going against the ethics and the economics of those countries and creating problems for them. Especially with this kind of a war, the Houthis could resume attacks on Red Sea shipping, where they retain the capability to launch attacks on commercial and military ships. For this part, Hezbollah, dramatically weakened from a significant Israeli offensive in 2024, has more recently signaled less willingness to retaliate on Iran's behalf. Even Khamenei's killing does not appear to have altered this calculation. And if you remember, Hamas's top leader was killed in Iran. Hamas at presently has been totally disseminated by Israeli forces. Hezbollah not ready to put up its head, but the Houthis are still active. The long-term implications of this is that the generation implication for the region's trajectory, highlighting the prospect of longer-term instability. For now, the region is entering into a period of unprecedented uncertainty, including instability in Iran, a regional fallout from the regime's increasingly desperation, and the killing of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei underscores that there is going to be significant flux, and every leader who comes into his place will be knocked off, as told by US, and as is the top hierarchy of the Iranian army and the political leadership has been disseminated. Presently, there are talks of putting Khamenei's son Masoud as the next leader, because he seems to be the only one who can be put in his place. But then the Israeli force and US have told that anybody coming in will be killed, so that there is no top hierarchy and Iran is headless and fighting haywire, so that the Iranians get a chance to come back from this hardliner separatist thought process back to the normal life that they had way back about 40 years. For its part, the Gulf can be expected to deepen. Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC, on defense and security, seeking to insulate the region from Iran's continuing fallout. So here the GCC will become stronger. These Islamic countries will put together to bolster themselves to fight against Iran. So finally it will be Iran left alone in West Asia, with Trump banging him out with Israel's help. And mind it, Khamenei's killing was not just a one-day affair. Data over years was collected by Mossad and CIA, and this data was converted into intelligence so that he could be tracked and killed whenever they liked it. And that is what has happened. Now, what does the world leaders say for this conflict, where US has again put its foot down? This war is not all about China, but then China has its own ties in the Middle Eastern geopolitics, and it had brokered the Iran-Saudi rapprochement and hosted Hamas for mediation talks with its rival Palestinian faction Fatah. So China has condemned US and Israeli attacks, or Iran had been asked to come into BRICS, and their IRGC, or the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, operates within the framework of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. And China is the largest trading partner and the largest importer and one of the largest foreign investors across Middle East and North Africa. There are about more than 4 lakh Chinese nationals in UAE alone, and that population in the Middle East is attacked by the Iranians, which is a thought or concern for China. Though it has not condemned the war in very many terms, but then they have problems at hand because of this war. Russia already has its headaches with Ukraine. They have not commented on the attack, and presently, though when the Syrian regime fell and Assad was given exile in Russia, so Russia is basically just an onlooker with no comments on this war. And UK and the European countries also have been very limp in their protest, though they have nothing much to say in this war and they had nothing to gain or lose. So they have very limply protested, but then have nothing much to say. So what is going to be the future of this complete conflict is that US will keep bombarding Iran, Israel will assist it, and Iran in its jeopardy will try to shoot off missiles everywhere because the bases of the US are in the countries around it. And there will be disruptions because neither Trump nor Iran is going to listen to the UN Charter. Trump is going to do his own, and this war seems to be a long drawn. Though Iran does not have so much of resources, and already it is said that US has tried to bombard the nuclear facilities of Iran. So we will have to keep watching on how long this complete war goes on. Though my thought process says this will elongate to about a month or so more, because Iran will have to run out of its arsenal. They have missiles which can strike long distance to about 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers. And for the time, we will have to keep watching on what happens and the destruction that is taking place will have to be borne by these countries. So keep watching my channel for further updates and analyses. Jai Hind.